Hello guys, this is the Pokerist and I am making a new tutorial to talk about the Pokemon Time Machine method. And specifically we're going to learn how to use this method that's already known, but to breed shiny Pokemon using the Time Machine method and the Masuda method. And this wasn't something necessarily that I invented or discovered, but I want to be the one to put it together and to make a tutorial to help out people to learn how to do this, especially now that Nintendo is going to be banning a lot of the people and their games for using Pokemon that are genned. And again, I stand my point. I don't condemn these people, but I don't promote genning. I actually encourage people to breed their own shinies and to do it as legitimate as they can, and there's nothing like using the Masuda method. However, there are techniques and there are strategies that you can use when shiny hunting. You know, some people prefer to use hordes because the encounter rate is a little higher. Some people prefer to do deck sniff. Some people prefer to use Masuda method breeding, and some people would like to do the friend safari. But all of these things at the end of the day work with chance RNG, and it's really your preference. So without further to say, let's go ahead and start our slideshow that I have created. Alright, so like I said, this tutorial is about using the Time Machine method to breed shiny Pokemon, and I am the Pokerist. Now, have you guys ever bred for a shiny? Bred countless eggs, sometimes 1,000, 2,000 eggs, and then when you finally get your shiny Pokemon, you get very happy, but then you're filled with a lot of sorrow and bitterness. Why? Because you realize that it's a failed shiny. By this I mean maybe it didn't get the IVs that you needed. Maybe it was missing attack or special attack or speed. Maybe it didn't get its hitting ability, or it got the wrong ability. Or maybe you had a perfect nickname for the Pokemon and you wanted it to be a male or a female to match that nickname, but again, you did not get what you wanted. One example of this is Froakie, and this happened to me twice. This was just one of the examples on one of the Pokemon. It happened to me quite a few times, but I was breeding for a Protean Froakie. I bred over 1,000 eggs, and when I finally got the shiny Froakie, yeah, I realized it was a Trollkey. What am I referring to? Well, if you guys want to find out what that means, go to JYT Gamers YouTube channel, and you guys will see a video of him breeding for a shiny Froakie, and he was so happy when he got the shiny Froakie. He screamed, he jumped, he clapped. It was hilarious. It was very happy to see him get a shiny and see his reaction. Unfortunately, it was a Trollkey. Why? Because he got trolled. It didn't have the hitting ability, which is very important. Froakie needs Protean. It got Torrent. And I don't remember what IVs he got, but in my case, I got Torrents too. And my Froakie had HP, attack, defense, special defense, and speed. And at the time, I was breeding for a special Froakie, so I really needed that special attack. And then I realized, wait a minute, these IVs are actually perfect for many other Pokemon. If there could have been a way that I would have known the Froakie wouldn't have gotten its hitting ability, or that it would have gotten these exact IVs, in that case I would have bred for a bunch of other Pokemon that could have taken advantage of these same values. Let's say, for example, a shiny Charmander, which at the time was going to be my next hunt, and I wanted a Charmander X. Well, those same IVs and that the fact that I didn't get the hitting ability would have really benefit Charmander, because it doesn't matter if he has Blaze or Solar Power, its hitting ability, it's going to be a SAR X, and when he Mega Evolves, he gets Tough Claws. On top of that, those IVs are perfect for him, because Charmander, Charizard X, when he evolves, I mean, all he needs is that ability from his Mega and those IVs. He needs HP, he needs attack, he needs defense, special defense, and speed. He doesn't really need special attack. So wouldn't it be cool if I would have known that and have Breath of Charmander instead and gotten those same stats? Well, that's not just wishful thinking. This is something that is actually possible. But before we go any further, let's talk about the Poke-Shinium theorem, which is a name that I came up for this whole theory and this whole method. But it's simply known as aka Masuda time machine. Really time machine, but you're using Masuda with it. Before we go into a lot of detail, let's learn a little bit of RNG, and this is very important because it's going to help us understand how this all works. The RNG is the random numeric generator. Every game has this, and what this does, it's simply an algorithm that in the video game it uses many sources to determine a specific factor. For example, the game might take x plus y times z divided by a, and it might give you s. You know, for the example of shiny breeding in RNG, it uses as part of its algorithm the values that it uses, or the source that it uses, are trainer ID, trainer shiny value, which is all specific to you in your game, and it takes into consideration the Masuda method. And I also have a theory that it uses date and time, and you guys can see another video that I'll link below to mention a little bit more of that. But regardless of what it uses, the point is that the RNG uses different sources to give you a factor. What are these factors? Well, it will determine whether you're going to have a shiny Pokemon, a shiny value. It's going to determine the ability that the egg is going to have. It's going to determine the IVs, and it's even going to determine the sex of the Pokemon. This is what RNG does. It takes all of those sources and it gives you a factor of what that egg is going to have. Now, this leads us to another question, and this one's very important. When does RNG actually take place for breeding? Is it when the egg is received at the daycare? Well, no. The RNG has already taken place even before that. RNG has already determined what that egg is going to be. If it's going to be shiny, what IVs it's going to have, if it's going to have its hidden ability, or if it's going to have ability 1 or 2 if it has 2 abilities, and even the sex. So the RNG does not take place when the egg is given to you. It takes place before that. And I have figured out exactly at what 2 places it takes, at what 2 points it takes place. The RNG will determine these values. First of all, if you have never deposited a Pokemon in the daycare, then you pretty much have a clean slate. So the moment you drop off your parents at the daycare, the RNG has already taken place. Now, the RNG also takes place at a different time or position. The moment you accept or reject an egg, RNG immediately takes place for the next egg. So this literally means that before an egg is even produced, the RNG has already determined the fate or the values of that egg. And let's illustrate this a little bit, or explain it a little better. I thought of lightning and thunder as a great example because as we all know, lightning is always produced before thunder. We always see that bright light from lightning, but we never hear the sound of thunder at the same time. It always normally takes anywhere between 5 to 10 seconds to hear the sound of thunder. So in a similar way, we can say that RNG, when it determines the values, that's kind of like the lightning. It happens so quick. But the eggs, in order for those values to be applied for the eggs, it takes seconds, or in this case in the game it takes a couple of steps before the egg is produced. So what does this mean for us? Why do we care about this? Well, just think about this. If the RNG produces the values for an egg before it's even created, this means that the moment the RNG is created, you have time to save somewhere in between that point where RNG has already taken place. And if you save at that point, you can then take some steps, get an egg, and see the values of that Pokemon, that egg, once it hatches. If you like those values, you can keep those values on that Pokemon. But if they were perfect values for another Pokemon, let's say those IVs or that ability, whether it got H hitting ability or not, would have been perfect for another Pokemon, well, guess what? You have those values locked already because you saved before you got the egg was even produced. So that means you can literally reset your game, switch out the parents, and the parents that you switch in, when they produce an offspring, the offspring is going to take advantage of those values that are already in place. So people have already been using this time machine method, but what a lot of people don't know is that this time machine method, or this RNG lock, also locks in shiny value. Meaning, if you save at the point where RNG already take place and not the egg, if you save and then you get the egg and you see that it's a shiny, that literally means that if you swap out the parents, the offspring will still be a shiny. Now, there is requirements and exceptions to this. First of all, to make this work, you have to be using the Masuda method. This means that the original parents, one of them is going to have to at least be foreign, and when you switch out the parents, you also have to have one parent that is foreign to trigger the Masuda method. Otherwise, even if you got a shiny with the time machine method, if you switch out the parents and they're both the same language, you're not going to get a shiny because you're not triggering Masuda method. Now, for the IVs, all the Pokemons have to have the same perfect 31 IVs as the original parents. So if your original parents both had 5 IVs on the same values, let's say both of them were missing special attack, when you switch them in, if you got a 5 IV offspring missing special attack, if you still want those values, well, when you switch in the new parents, you better make sure that they both have those same 5 IVs. Otherwise, the values could be different or some could be missing. But if you follow the same standard, the same values, you should get the same IVs. Now, regarding the ability, if your offspring, when you locked it, got its ability and it was a hitting ability, when you switch in the new parents, if you want the offspring to have the hitting ability, that means the parent that you switch in also has to have the hitting ability. Otherwise, even if your original offspring got the hitting ability, if you switch in a parent that doesn't have a hitting ability, you're not going to get the hitting ability. It's going to get its regular ability. So when you do this, and I'll show you guys how to do it very soon in the video, if you did get the hitting ability originally and then you switch into parents and you don't get it, well, you might have messed up somewhere. So just reset and keep trying until you get it right. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is the sex. If you got a female, you can get a female offspring. If you got a male, you can get a male offspring when you switch it. Just as long as the Pokemon that you're switching in and out have the same gender ratio. And let's get a little bit more into detail. For this experiment or this method, we're going to be using a Magikarp that actually has a 50-50 ratio of being either male or female. If I got a female Magikarp and I got a shiny one, and then I switch the parents to, let's say, a Torchic or a Blaziken, and if I follow these rules that I just mentioned, I will get a shiny and I will get the same IVs, but it's not going to be a female because Torchic or Blaziken doesn't have a 50-50 gender ratio. It's actually a 1 in an 8th chance of being a female, and that means a 7 1/8 chance of always being a male. So the dominant ratio is always going to take precedence unless your original Pokemon and your switching out Pokemon have the same gender ratio. And Magikarp is a good Pokemon to use. I'll go into detail later why it's a great Pokemon to use for this method. Now the other requirement is for you to breed one egg at a time, because what you're trying to do is lock in the RNG, and in order for this to work, it has to be done this way. You can't do 5 eggs at a time. This has to be 1 egg at a time. Don't worry, this is all not clear, confusing. The video should make a lot more sense, and if you read through the paragraphs, I believe I made some things are a little bit more clear the way I've written them than actually said it. Okay, so let's illustrate it. We were talking about Magikarps, and the reason why I recommend Magikarps for this method is for various reasons. First of all, Magikarp has the shortest hatching steps. It takes 1,300 eggs, or I believe less, to hatch Magikarp, so you're going to be hatching eggs very quickly. Also, Magikarp only has 2 options as abilities. Its regular ability, Swift Swim, or its hitting ability, Rattle. So it's great because it makes it easier to get the hitting ability. Also, he has that gender ratio of 50-50, and like I said, more than 50% of Pokemon have this same ratio. So if you want to get a female and you use a Magikarp, well, guess what? Now if you use a Pokemon with the same gender ratio, you're gonna get your female that you've always wanted. I normally use in English 5 IV hitting ability Rattle Magikarp, and this is my female, obviously, because it has to be the female. I don't have to use the other male Pokemon as a Magikarp, but you can. What you do have to do is make sure that one of them is foreign. In my case, I use a Japanese male Swablu that's 6 IVs. To me, this is just the way I like doing it. It maximizes the chances of getting attack and special attack, and depending on which one it gets, I can switch out the parents to my convenience, or if it's a hybrid Pokemon, then it's even better because I have both. So what I'll do is I'll breed 1 egg at a time, following the procedures that I set. I'm going to drop off the parents, both of these Pokemon, at the daycare, save immediately, then get the egg until I finally get a shiny female Magikarp or a male Magikarp. It doesn't matter, but as long as I get the shiny and that I get the IVs that I want and the hitting ability, then what I do is I can simply reset and switch them out. And like I said, you guys will see that. So let's go into a little bit more detail before going into the video on how this Old Switcheroo Trick works. So let's say that that I got a Magikarp with 5 IVs, I got its hitting ability, and it was just missing defense. Yeah, so this is perfect for a hybrid Froakie, let's say a hasty Froakie. This means that now, because I got the hitting ability and I got all the IVs that I wanted, I can use in English Froakie with 5 IVs, hitting ability, and I can use my Japanese Asumero, which also has 6 IVs. And when I drop them off at the daycare and I switch them out, I am going to get a Froakie that's going to be shiny, that's going to have 5 IVs, missing defense just like the shiny Magikarp I had gotten, and it's also going to have its hitting ability. It's going to be Protean. However, the only difference here is that it's going to be male because, like I mentioned, starters have that differential in that gender ratio. So let's go ahead and show the video. Alright guys, so I'm going to be showing you exactly how the time machine method works, and how is it that you lock that RNG value so that when you do get a shiny, you can just switch out the parents and get the same IVs, same hitting ability, get the hitting ability if it is you got it, and to be able to get the same sex if it has the same gender ratio. So I'm going to be using a Magikarp, and here I'm checking the IVs to show you guys exactly which one I'm using. This one has HP, attack, special defense, and speed. So that's my Magikarp, and it's an English Magikarp with the hitting ability Rattle. Next, I'm checking the IV status for Swablu. This one's Japanese and it has 6 IVs. HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. So there we go, we checked them with the judge, and now I'm going to show them off on the screen. So there's the Swablu. I guess I should show them off on the PC so that you guys can see them, because I can't really show you my bottom screen simply because I don't have a capture card. But that's the Swablu with 6 IVs, and he's Japanese. And this is the little Magikarp that has a hitting ability. So this is what we're going to do to start the process of locking the RNG status. So right now we have no Pokemons at the daycare, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave both of them. Magikarp, okay, and that's Swablu. Alright, so at this point the RNG has already been generated, and I am actually saving. So there you guys heard that I just saved. So I don't know what IVs or what if it's going to have its hitting ability, or if it's going to be shiny or not. I don't know any of that information yet. So there you go. Just gave me an egg. So let's go ahead and hatch it. So what's pretty cool about this method of breeding is that the RNG value is already locked. As you guys saw in the PowerPoint, as soon as I dropped off the parents, the RNG is already locked for this Pokemon egg. And we're going to see right now whether it's going to be shiny or not, or whether it's going to get the hitting ability or not, or what IVs it's going to have. And we're going to do this 2 times just so that you guys see exactly how it's done. And you want to use Magikarps with this because they have that 50-50 gender ratio. Almost more than 50% of Pokemon have that same ratio. And on top of that, well, they have the shortest hatching step, which is pretty amazing. So there you go, you can see that that is not a shiny Magikarp. So we really don't want this egg value. So what do? Simply soft reset. You hold L plus R shoulder button and then start or select an A, and you will soft reset the game. So now what we're going to do, because we know what the RNG values are going to be, we're going to reject that egg. We don't want it because it wasn't a shiny. And I should have checked the IVs and the nature, but I'm going to do that for the second egg. So there it is. So you talk to this guy. Do you want the egg? No, we don't want it because it's not a shiny. So at that point, the RNG has already tossed its dice, and it's already created and determined the values for the next egg. We don't know what they are yet, so I just saved before the egg gets produced again. So we're going to take a couple of steps, wait for that egg to be produced. I'm sorry that the quality of this isn't the best. I really wish that I had a capture card, but I don't. and then this just creates these awful waves that I don't like at all, but okay. You guys can see those lines are pretty nasty. Alright, so let's go ahead and see now with what this one's going to get. Let me mess with my camera in the meanwhile, see if I can improve this. I guess not really. I don't know if that helps a little bit. But essentially, this is the point. You repeat the process until you get a shiny, or you can simply just use this method just to lock down the IVs. If you're just trying to breed a Pokemon with good IVs and you keep getting a non-hitting ability Pokemon with terrible IVs, you can use the Magikarp just to lock down those IVs and the hitting ability or not. It doesn't necessarily have to be with shiny. It works with shiny also, but you don't necessarily have to use it this way. So this one is a female, and let's go ahead and check what the IVs are. It's superior relative potential overall. So this one got HP, attack, special attack, and special defense. So not the best IVs, obviously, at all. But I mean, it got its hitting ability, so maybe a Pokemon who didn't need speed could use these stats. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a pause here, and I'm going to breed until I lock down a shiny Magikarp with good IVs and hitting ability, and then we're going to show the switcheroo technique to show you how it works. Alright guys, so I have just locked down a shiny egg value, and I'm gonna show it to you guys right now in just a minute. I'm recording with my cell phone to see if it's, I don't know, a little better, but it seems like I'm still getting those lines. So, and this Magikarp that I got, shiny, actually got pretty good IVs. It got everything except defense, and it got its hitting ability, and it's a female. So let's go ahead and hatch it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the shiny Magikarp in the PC, and we're also going to check its IVs, just so that you guys can see that it is indeed a shiny Magikarp, and that it got its hitting ability. And then we're going to go ahead and then swap out the parents with a Froakie, and show you how we're going to get a shiny Froakie with its hitting ability and most likely the same IVs. So there it is. Shiny, beautiful, shiny Magikarp. So let's go ahead and get its IV checked out. Okay, first of all, let's see it in the PC. So that's the non-shiny one, and there it is, the one we just hatched. Shiny, female, hitting ability. Now, what IVs did it get? Like I tell you, I already checked it, but I want you guys to see it. So it got HP, attack, special defense, and speed. So this is perfect for a hasty Protean Froakie. And you know what? We're going to soft reset, and that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm gonna go ahead and switch out the parents because, like I'm showing you guys, I was able to lock that RNG, those RNG values. So I can literally switch in any parents right now, and I would still get a shiny just as long as one of the parents is a foreign Pokemon. I'm going to use I know I have an Azumarill around here. There it is. Japanese Azumarill. Okay. So let's go ahead and take out the parents. Take out Magikarp. Take out the Magikarp, and I already took out the Swapaloo. And sorry, this is this video is going to be pretty long, but it just has to be that way because I want you guys to be able to see step by step everything. So I'm going to give my hasty Froakie the Everstone, and then I'm going to give my Azumarill the Destiny Knot. Now my Froakie does have Protean. There you go, you guys can see it, Protean Froakie. If it didn't have Protean, even though the Magikarp, the shiny Magikarp, got its hitting ability, if this Froakie didn't have its hitting ability, let's say it was Torrent, I would not get a hitting ability Froakie because the parent still, like I'm going to show in the PowerPoint, it still has to have the IVs, similar IVs, and it has to have the hitting ability. So the reverse is true. If my Magikarp would have gotten Swift Swim, which is the non-hitting ability, even if I put in a Protean Froakie in there, it's not gonna get Protean because that's not the value that got locked down by RNG. So this Froakie is going to take a little long to hatch, and I might speed some of these sections off just so that you guys don't have to watch. Here it is. Here's the Froakie hatching. There it is. Shiny Froakie. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at it in PC box. And then we're going to see its IVs. So there's still the Swablu and the Magikarp that I originally swapped out. And there is the Froakie. He is hasty and he is Protean. And it's not a female because of that gender ratio that I mentioned. Starters always have a 1 out of an 8th chance to be female, so yeah, you're not going to get it, even though the Magikarp was a female. Now let's go ahead and check Froakie's IVs, and it is outstanding. Has HP, has attack, and there it is. It's missing defense just like the Magikarp, has special attack, special defense, and speed. So there it is, guys. I don't know what more proof do you guys want, but the time machine method works even with shinies. So feel free to take advantage of this. Use it to your heart's content. It will allow you to repo perfect shiny Pokemon, and it's still a legit way to do it while saving time. If all you care about is breeding legit Pokemon, and shiny Pokemon, well, this is an alternative to all the other methods, which would be dex nabbing, horde hunting, friend safari, or the classic Masuda method where you just get 5 eggs or fill your boxes with eggs until you finally get one. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys are able to use this video to succeed in your shiny hunts.